All right, good morning, all of you. Uh, I hope you should be able to hear me, right? So if you can't hear my voice, please put a message or just tell me that you are not hearing anything or you are not seeing anything. And so this is the first class for your mathematics, pure mathematics first year. So it's a pleasure to welcome you all. And I'm repeating if you can't hear the voice or thing, so let me write it down. Okay, so if you can't read this writing on the board, or if you can't hear what I am saying, right, in the microphone, just put a message on the chat so that I can understand that you have a problem, right? So this is how you will do every time when you are sitting in this class. If you can't see the board or if you can't hear my voice or if you don't understand something, you can put a message on the chat so that I can see it, right? And then try to set things up, right? Okay. So the voice is not clear for someone. Okay, for someone it is clear. So if it is for only few people, then it should be something with your uh, mobile phone or the device. So you don't need to worry too much about not hearing or able to read in your class, because I understand that the network services are not in good order in many places, right? Especially in the up countries and some other areas, the network connection is always poor. So I understand that you will not, sometimes you will not be able to follow the class properly. Sometimes you may have to be locked out of the system. Sometimes Zoom will not work. So there are a lot of problems, technical problems. So that is what I am going to do is I will try to record my class, right? Right, so I will try to record the whole Zoom class, right, every time, right, whenever I am teaching. And then after 1 week, I will try to post the unedited video recording in a YouTube, right, in the YouTube. I have a personal YouTube channel, so I will put it there, right. So, and then I will share the link with you on the WhatsApp group or LMS, so that if you have problem in seeing what I am writing on the board, or if you have problem in following the class for 1 hour, right, you can always go back and see the video again on the YouTube, right? So that is the second information. Third one, right? right? So third information, after 1 week, because they are still working on your LMS, right? So you are still, I believe you are still not included in my classroom, in my LMS. So the university will work on that. And after the giving you the login ID and password for LMS, which is known as the learning management system, I will upload a textbook, right, which we are using. The textbook means it is something like a lecture note, but not everything covered, right? So just the major points will be typed out, and it will be, so it will look like something like this, right? So this kind of a document, right? So we will try to upload few pages, one after another, right? After 1 week only. Not, you cannot expect this week, right? Because I don't think they will fix the LMS by this week. So next week we will upload the first 3 or 4 pages, right? By the time when we are uploading it, we must have covered the material in the classroom here, right? So this is, and also because some of you may have problem in LMS, so that we will, at the beginning, we will try to put that in the WhatsApp group as well. Yes, the login system is in LMS is a problem, right? So if you have problem in logging into LMS, you must send an email or something to the dean's office, right? The dean science. If you go to the university website, you will see the science faculty website, and when in the science faculty website, you will see the dean's office email address, right? Also, you can email the dean's office with your information that you have problem in logging into LMS, then they should be able to help it. But yeah, there is some problem because they are just now only they are working in, right? Because just now you are coming into the classes, so it is working. So hopefully in 1 week time it should be okay. Up to that point, until everybody has access to LMS, we will try to upload everything in the WhatsApp group as well. But putting in the WhatsApp group is not that safe, but we will still put the notes and everything there, right? So you don't need to worry too much about that, right? YouTube link also will be shared in your WhatsApp as well, right? Once the videos are uploaded and everything is done, right? So this is again the information about how we are going to do it online, right? So now let me put the class times. So this class is this, right? So PMM. This is the course I am going to teach, right? PMM 102 G2. It is called limit process. Right? So the subject name is limit process PMM 102 GC2, right? So PMM stands for pure mathematics. 1 stand for your level 1, right? 02 is the code number for this subject. 01, 02, 03, 04, like that. G is for general degree, right? So you are in the general degree now. 2 is the number of credits. So 2 credit means we will teach for 30 hours, right? 1 credit is 15-hour lectures, right? So that means 2 hours is, this lecture is for 30 hours. 2 means it is 30-hour lectures, right? So 2 of us will be teaching this course. Most of the time I will be coming here. My name is right. So I will be, most of the time I will be teaching this course, right? At the same time, right? So most of the time I will be the teacher for your course, but the vice chancellor, you must have met him twice, right, at the beginning of your orientation and in the department orientation. And so he is also a teacher for this course with me, right? But because he is a vice chancellor, he may have less time to come and teach. So whenever he has time, he will come and join and teach some of the material for you, or briefly give an introduction for the subject and everything to you, right? So time to time, he will also come and join, but most of the time the teaching will be done by me, right? There are 3 tutorial assistants in for your course, right? So there are 3 tutorial assistants. Right, so there are 3 assistants for teaching in this course, right? The first one is Gajan. And second one is Ratnayaka, I believe. Third one is Marangi. Right, so these will be the assistants for this course, teaching assistants, right? So the first 2 can speak both the Sinhala language as well. So if you have problem, you can get their numbers and then you can communicate with them. I believe at least 2 of them are in the WhatsApp group as well. So if you put a message to them, or if you put a message on WhatsApp about any questions, they should be able to answer you and help you. Right, at the same time, they will be in your LMS after you get into log into LMS. They will be in your LMS as well. So they will try to upload tutorials and they will help you to work on that and things like that. Sometimes they will also come and teach this class, right? Whenever we give tutorial problems, right? They will also sometimes come and teach you how to solve the problems, how to do tutorial problem and things like that, right? So these are the teaching assistants for this course. Right. Next important part is, so I told you this is a 3-hour class, so we will try to teach 30-hour class, so we will try to teach 30 hours. So important thing is timetable and exams, right? So let me erase these points. Okay, so timetable. Right, so in the timetable shared by the Dean Office to you, right, you can see there are 7 PMM times, right? So you will see PMM, that is for pure mathematics. So there are 7 PM. So what is happening is that you will learn 2 different pure mathematics subjects in the first semester and 2 different pure mathematics subjects in the second semester. Right? So in the first semester, one pure mathematics subject is this PMM 102 G2, that is a 2 credit course, that is called limit process, and there will be another pure mathematics course. Some other teacher will come and teach you that course, that is PMM 101, right? 101. This is 102, that is 103, and that is little bigger, that is 3 credit course, right? So altogether you will learn 5 credits of pure mathematics in the first semester and another 5 in the second semester, right? So because you have 7 time slots in the timetable for pure mathematics, I will take 3 slots and the other slots will be for the other pure mathematics PMM 101, right? So let me put my times. My time is Monday, this time, right, 8 to 9 a.m. and Tuesday 1 to 2 p.m. and Wednesday again 1 to 2 p.m. time. Right. So as of now, these are the time for pure mathematics 1 or 2 limit process, and all the others for the others pure mathematics, set theory or foundation of mathematics. Right. Sometimes we may have to change it, right? Because of the depending on the times we need for the other lecturer to go for some other lectures, or if sometimes the vice chancellor wanted to come and teach you some sections, right? And then we may have to change time according to their schedule, right? So, but as of now, technically, let us say these are the fixed times for this course, right? So 3 hours per week we will teach, right? In these times, we will try to put lectures and also tutorial classes, right? Sometimes if one of these classes get cancelled, right, because of Zoom error, right? So you, not only you, we also have Zoom problems, right? We will have power cut, we will have sometimes Zoom problems, sometimes network problems. So there is a possibility that sometimes class get cancelled in the middle, or sometimes we may not be able to start the class, something like that happens, right? So in those cases, we will discuss with you in the WhatsApp group and put some extra time also, right? So there those extra times will be discussed with you in the WhatsApp group, and will be informed to you, and we may have to have some extra classes as well if the Zoom has some problem, right? So most of the time I will try to stick with these times, and if get cancelled, we will go to the next day and teach and things like that. Not trying to put extra time, right? But if necessary, we may have to put it there, right? So that's those will be discussed with. So technically, these are my class times, right? And then examinations. That is very important, right? So examinations. So according to our system, you will have 2 types of exams, right? One is in-course exam. Right? This is about exams. Another one is end of course exam. Right? So there are 2 exams for these courses. Right? Actually, there will be 3. I will tell you how. Right? You will have in-course exam and end of course exams. Right? So how they will put 100 marks for you is, in the in-course, we will give you 30 marks. Right? End of course, we will give you 70 marks. So altogether, you will get 100 marks. So 30% of your overall grade is coming from the in-course, right? And 70% of your end of course, 70% of your overall marks is coming from the end of course, right? So end of course is at the end of the semester, right? So they will, the dean office will put a timetable, right? They will inform you when will be the exam. You have to come to Jaffna and sit the exam. So that is not going to happen now, right? So after 10 or 12 or 13, 14 weeks only, maybe two months or 3 months time, you will see the end of course exam. But I will tell you how the end of course exam will be, right? So this is a 2-hour exam. Right? So it is a 2-hour exam, right? We will give 4 questions. From this 4 questions, you answer 3 questions. Right? So 2-hour exam, 4 questions, you answer 3 questions. So technically, this is how the end of course exam will be. It is fixed, right? So this is how it always will be. No change in that, right? The dean office will give you a timetable will be there. You have to come, all of them together, sit down and write the paper exam, right? So that will happening. So right now we are, your 4th year batch is going to have exam this week. We call them we put them in quarantine, and now we are starting to give them exams from next week, right? Some of them are starting this week, and some of them. So like that for you also, at some point, even if the corona continues, right? We will try to finish everything in Zoom, right? And then we might call you and give you the end of course exam at some point, right? So not now, but at the end. But anyhow, but whatever happens, this will be the structure of the end of course exam, right? 2 hours, 4 questions, answer 3 questions. And this in course is an exam which we give when you are studying, right? During the class time, right? One of these class times, we will say, okay, next Monday we will give you an exam, and then we will give you exam, grade them, and do that. So technically, we give two tests, and most of the time we like to give you 2 tests and 15 marks, right? So, but if the Zoom problem continues, if the corona continues and you may have to go by Zoom, then we will go with 1 exam, right? So this can be in any form. And usually if you are coming, right? Right, this is how 45 minutes written exam is what we give for in-course exam, so that we can give within a class time, right? So that is how we usually do in-course exam. But if we have to teach everything online, and if there is a chance that we cannot call you here, right? Hope that will never happen, right? But if that happens, then we may have to give some online exam, right? That I will tell you whenever the time comes, right? So in course exam, we can change the system, we can change everything according to what we have and what we teach and things like that. So technically I will give you right, I will give you 2-week notice, right? 2 weeks before the exam, I will tell you that in 2 weeks you will have an in-course exam, and what will be the exam format and what are the materials we are going to cover. Everything I will tell you, because it is me who is giving the exam time and everything, so I can manage with you, right? So that is how the in-course exams are going to be conducted, right? So this is in-course exam system, time and everything will change according to what we have at our hand due to this lockdown and everything. Right? So these are the information about examination, right? So this is basically the important information you are supposed to know before starting of the class, right? So within this information, if you have any question, you can ask or you can send a message. If not, I can go ahead and start the lecture material. Okay, so if not, let me write down the syllabus of this course first, right? So that you can have an idea about what we are going to. Right, so okay, so this course is limit process. Technically, we will teach 3 main areas here, right? The first one, so that means technically I will teach 3 chapters, right? From those 3 chapters, for end of course you will have 4 questions, right? So now you can understand what we are, how we are going to teach. The first chapter is and first chapter is we will talk about numbers, right? Different type of numbers, what are the properties of numbers and all those things, right? So technically in here, let me see. Let me write down this first and then explain you. Okay, so sometimes the letters are not clear because our internet system is in trouble, right? So don't worry, I will upload the video on the YouTube, and in the YouTube video it should be clear. Okay, so these are the areas. So I told you 3, but I am writing 4, right? Because the 4th one we usually teach it with the 2nd chapter, right? Right? Even though in syllabus we put that as a separate section, we usually combine that with the 2nd chapter. So that is why we basically teach 3 subjects, right? 3 chapters, right? So the first chapter is numbers, right? So it is about real numbers and algebraic properties and all of that. So basically, the first chapter is about numbers, right? So simply speaking, what we are going to do is to, in the first chapter, we are going to assume that you only know 0 and 1, right? So that is the thing we are going to start with, right? So we will start with like how in the very old days people started creating numbers and everything. So we'll start thinking as you only know 0 and 1, right? And then based on that, we are going to build all numbers, right? From 0 and 1, we are going to build numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus 1, 2, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, and all the numbers and fractions 1 upon 2, 1 upon 3, minus 2 upon 7, blah blah blah, and all the numbers, right? We are going to see how all these numbers can be built from just 0 and 1, right? So assuming that you only know 0 and 1, right? So that is why these properties are coming in, right? Order properties, algebraic properties. By using all these properties, right, we are trying to see how all the other numbers are built, right? So first we will know about what are the number systems and things like that, and then all those things, right? So that's basically the first chapter is all about numbers and their properties, right? Different properties for the different types of numbers. Second one is a sequence, right? So something like 1 upon n or 3 upon n square, like that. So when you put n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3, something like that, or sin nx over nx, something like that. All right, so those kind of things are called sequences, right? So we will, in the second chapter, we will talk about the properties of those kind of sequences, right? And how they will go, what happened to them when you take n large enough, or what happened to them when you take n small enough, right? So that's when the convergence, limits, all these things are coming in. And then fourth chapter is basically a continuation of second chapter. So that is why we bring them together, right? Second and fourth, right? So, and then using the sequences, we will talk about limits, right? So in A level also you study it, right? So if you have, you must have, in A level you did something like limit of x squared plus 2 over x plus 1, something like that, x goes to minus 1 or something like that. You learn how to find the limit of those functions, right? They ask you to find limits in A level, right? So here we are trying to see the real theory behind it. In the A level, they don't teach you theory, they will tell you how to find the limits, right? So if they, for example, if they ask you to find limit of x squared plus 1 over x minus 1 when x goes to 2 or x goes to 3, then they tell you that just put x equal to 3 and get the number, right? So if the number below or if the number in the denominator is 0, they tell you write down it does not exist or something like that, right? Or so even when you are trying to draw graphs by using the derivative, right? That is the second part, one of the second part questions in your combined mathematics paper 1, right? Pure mathematics part. You use derivatives and then you draw the graph of a function, right? Very complicated function you draw, right? For that also you take limit x goes to infinity, and then you find horizontal asymptotes, you find vertical asymptotes, and things like that, right? So you did that in A level. So in A level, what they teach is they will tell you, okay, you do this, and this is how you find the horizontal asymptote, right? And this is how you find the vertical asymptote. That is what you must have learned in A level, right? And that is what expected in A level. Here in this course, what we are going to do is we are going to see the real theory, right? Why, when x is equal to 2, this function has a horizontal asymptote. Why y is equal to this will give you this, right? So those kind of questions we will see here, right? So the real mathematical theory behind all those concepts you learn in A level will be taught in this chapter. And then the last chapter, depending on the time we have, we will go as much as we can. That is about series, right? So series is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus, or 1 plus 1 upon 2 plus 1 upon 3 plus 1 upon 4 plus, like that, right? So these kind of summations, right? That's called series, right? Or 1 plus 2 squared plus 3 cubed plus 4 cubed, 4 to the power 4, something like that, right? So we will see how to find the sum of those terms, right? Finite terms or infinite terms and all those things, and whether there is a sum exists or not, how to see that, okay, this summation will have a finite answer, or how to see this summation as an infinite answer, and all those things we will study in the last chapter, that is called series, right? So these are the chapters we are going to cover, right? So if you are interested in reading books for this course, right, this is the title you have to look for. Real analysis is the big area that covers everything. So what we are going to teach here is basically an introduction. Right, so basically what we are teaching here in this chapter is first part of the introduction to this big area called real analysis, right? So you will study real analysis if you are studying mathematics in our department, right? Up to 4th year, you will keep on studying real analysis, real analysis, real analysis, real analysis. So that is why here we put the name limit process, right? So actually this is the first part of the introduction to real analysis. So if you read any book called Introduction to Real Analysis, right, you might able to see these chapters, right? Numbers, algebraic properties, completeness property, dense property. Whenever you see these terms in a real analysis book, you can see that, okay, these are somewhat related to our material, right? So nowadays you can find a lot of ebooks in the Google or anywhere. So if you search for Introduction to Real Analysis books, right, you will see lots of books, right? Within that, if you see these keywords, you can just read them and see what they are saying, right? That might give you some interesting ideas about this chapter, right? So these are how, this is how we will teach, but we will not, here we will not force you to buy a textbook and read it, because we will try to give the lecture notes as clear as possible, right? So if you are interested in, right, you can look for Introduction to Real Analysis books, or some other lecture notes, and lots of things are available now, right? So with these names, and if you search it, you will see hundreds and hundreds of lecture notes, hundreds and hundreds of books. So you can take a look at them and read all of them. Right? So this is how the class is going to be taught, right? This is the structure of the course, right? So this is what we do, right? So I will not start teaching today because we have only 5 or 6 minutes left. So let me brief about what we are going to study tomorrow, right? So actually we will start from chapter 1 tomorrow immediately, right, from the beginning. So first thing what we are going to learn tomorrow is some basic properties, right? So I told you that we are going to start thinking or working like we only know 0 and 1, right? So that is what we are going to start with. So to develop the numbers, we need certain theories, right? So we are going to study those theories there, right? Say for example, if you see, right, so if you have only 0 and 1 as the numbers you know, right? So then you kind of see that when you add 0 with any number, you get the same number, right? So that's something you know. And then if you multiply any number by 1, that means you will get the same number, right? So 10 times 1 is 1, and minus 10 times 1, sorry, 10 times 1 is 10, and minus 10 times minus 1 is also minus 10, right? So 0 plus 10 is 10, 0 plus minus 100 is minus 100. So 0, whenever you add anything with 0, that does not change the number. Similarly, 1 is another special type, because when you when you multiply 1 by any number, the number does not change. So that is why these two are very crucial. So we assume that we are starting with this, right? And then you can start working the other numbers, right? Because if you know plus, then you can put 1 plus 1 give you another number, right? 1 plus 1 give you another number, like that, right? And then if you want to get 0 from 1, then 1 plus minus 1 is 0, right? So these are things you already know, right? So you, right from your very young age, you know this, right? So 1 plus minus 1 is 0, you know that. 1 plus 1 is 2, you know that. And then when you put 2 plus 1 is 3, you know. So like that you can develop numbers, right? So because of this minus 1, then minus 1 plus minus 1 is minus 2, and then you can develop these numbers. And then you divide one by another, you get numbers. When you multiply, you get numbers, right? So these things you already know, right? From your very young age, you know, right? But these things actually has some governing properties, right? So how to add numbers, how to subtract numbers, or how to multiply numbers, those things has some governing properties. So those governing properties, so for plus and multiplication, dot, we are going to see plus is for addition and dot is for multiplication, right? So these are the two basic operations we have in mathematics, right? So you all know that, right? So plus is summing up things, and dot, multiplication, is multiplying something together. So these are the two basic operations. So these operations have certain properties, right? So say for example, 1 plus 2 is also 3, or if you reverse that order and say 2 plus 1 is also 3, right? And then 2 multiplied by 3 is also 6, 3 multiplied by 2 is also 6, right? You know this. So these are certain properties, right? So these are some special things for this plus and minus. So these are the things we are going to study, right? But we are going to see in a general purpose, right? So not with these just 1, 2 numbers, right? So we are going to see it for a general purpose, like arbitrary numbers, A, B, and things like that we are going to do, right? So that is how we are going to start with. So next class, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, right? I will share the Zoom link in the WhatsApp group later, right? So on that time, we will start the first section, which is called the algebraic properties or axioms of real number, right? So I am going to stop here, and I will continue, or I will actually start the class on the real lectures on tomorrow at 1, right? So I will close here and then see you again tomorrow. And before that, if you have any question, you can message me, or otherwise you can leave, and I will see you tomorrow at 1.